Hey, Justin, what's happening, boy?
Nice work together.
Jessica!
Everyone this way. Justin and Jessica to get everyone here. On your left side, guys, on your left side. Police. Justin and Jessica on your left side. Jessica.
Justin, all the way down!
Right here, Justin.
Jessica, to your left!
Yay, awesome. Great.
Perfection.
Amazing.
Really big for a while then.
Thank you. Great technique.
I'll ask.
Get to the single two. One. Gigi, Abrams.
Down to your left!
Right here, Pete.
The two right here.
And one left to your right.
Big smile now. Big smile, Ronnie. Nice smile, please.
Here, Jason, straight ahead here.
One more right back here.
Jason, one more time here.
Right here, next to you.
I got all your hands.
Right up top.
Right over here, please. Right over here.
Dana, right up top, Dana, down to your left. Dana, the front right here. Dana, right up top.
Joe, right here.
Right up here.
One more time straight ahead here.
Now this way. Roger, thank you.
Gigi, one left side, your left side.
One more. Yeah, right here, sweetheart. Beautiful. I love it. Thank you a lot. Wait, did you look right here? Look right next to you. Here we go. Hold on.
And then straight ahead. All right.
Please.
Hey, Gavin, top row, right up top.
Gavin, can you turn your body this way?
Yeah.
Right hand.
There we go.
Brandon, right next to him up top. Brandon, that's fine.
Nice row, nice row.
Kingsley, one more spot.
Lovely.
I'd like to speak with Kearran.
Shoulder, one's over here.
Here.
One's right here. Two right here, please.
And what's your name? That's lovely. Right in here.
Everyone to your left,
On your left, everybody.
It's an amazing honor to be here and to listen to the young people who are so courageous and who have been speaking all night tonight.
Yeah, I think we've both sat at our table and been we keep looking at each other like, could you possibly be more inspired by these young people? I don't feel like we're getting an award tonight, you know. I feel like we're sort of just happy to be here and be a voice for the continual change that we all want to see.
Yep.
And but these young people, they're the real award. Like you, and like Jess said, now that we have a son, to see that like maybe someday he will be a person like that. You see these young people. It really is an inspiring evening. Yeah, no, we're both child actors and we feel like failures tonight.
Yeah.
we feel like we've been working since we were young children, and we feel like we haven't done anything now that we've seen.
It's true. It's very true.
Yeah.
Talking to people and explaining and letting a community that maybe they're unfamiliar with, they get to be familiar with that community. That's what it's about. It's taking the mystery and the fear, away from these people who are incredible people.
I think it's to add on to what Jess just said so beautifully. I think when you look at the heritage of humanity, not just America or Europe, or the heritage of humanity. Every sort of form of oppression has been because of ignorance and non-education. And so it's exciting to live in these times. We were talking earlier today, that's what I was going to say, we were talking earlier today about the word tolerance. And we were like, we have to get rid of that word. Like acceptance and tolerance, like what are we tolerating? What are we really, what is there a group of people that feel like they're tolerating something?
It's just an archaic idea when you're talking about human beings and, what everyone should be entitled to, which is safety, to learn, to thrive.
Yeah, and individuality.
To grow in your own community, and that's it, period.
We both grew up in small towns, and we were both different in our own way. But again, I think I said it earlier this year, that's something. But you can't make a difference if you're not different.
It's a great honor. I feel really thrilled to be here, and to be honored by an organization that does such amazing work for young people is something that's really extra meaningful to me. I'm really honored to be here. Well, I don't think that you can really talk about respecting one another unless you have respect for yourself. So I feel like the idea of cultivating the notion of self-love in the younger generation is something that's very important in a time when our culture is increasingly chaotic and disconnected and fragmented, and there's an insidiousness to the advancement of technology which allows bullying to take a grip that it just simply wasn't able to take in generations gone by. So I feel like that lesson starts at home, and we need to be responsible to teaching the children and younger people in the world that you have to love yourself before you can truly love someone else. Absolutely, and I think it's a mark of our evolution as a society, and it's something that we need to encourage as a community in any way we can. And it's great that we live in a time when that's possible, and we're fortunate in many ways, and yet there's still so much work to be done. So, yeah.
With that said, celebrate their 25th anniversary.
Absolutely. The first time I got to come to the GLSEN Awards was I presented an award to Jeffrey and Marilyn Katzenberg, and I brought Todd with me, my partner, and we were both so floored by the students and when they spoke. And there was no choice at that point for us but to stay involved, because it was something that I had never even thought about before, because I grew up so many years before the people in school right now, and school was very, very different then. And the idea of a GLSEN, a student network in that way when I was in school, wasn't nearly as possible and wouldn't have nearly the force, I don't believe, that it does now. And it makes me so excited for the future. And in fact, that night I presented with a girl who, she and I took the stage together, and she spoke first, and it was the worst setup in the world because she was so much smarter than me. I only left the stage regretful that I hadn't said, "You just met the new Hillary Clinton." I mean, I don't know who this is. The students involved with GLSEN are wise beyond their years and in touch with things that are so crucial and important to our society at a very basic level in a way that I never was at their age. In a way, many times, that I'm still getting in touch with at my age. And in one way, it's just this is the way the world is changing. But in another way, these are people who are very intent on learning things and figuring out things at an early time in their life in a way that a lot of us just weren't. And being here, I've been here every year since, and it's one of the most moving evenings that I ever have in LA. And I'm just thrilled to be here again. Yeah. It is difficult to say sometimes with great specificity what needs to be done to create safe spaces in a world that's safer to grow up in. But in a slightly general sense, exactly what's happening with GLSEN is one of the best ways to combat hostility and to make a safe space, which is start at an early age and create a way in which this is the normal way to grow up.
Well, first of all, I'm honored to present an award to Zachary Quinto, who is an awesome individual. And the organization, GLSEN, does extraordinary work in support of gay, lesbian, straight, transgender, bi students. And I think that the work that they do to prevent bullying and harassment is extraordinary. And I just honor what their work is, and Katie and I are just thrilled to support them. I gotta say, champion, you know, let's be honest. What has he really done? Zachary, I'll say the thing is about Zachary is he's one of the most grounded and thoughtful and sweet people I've ever known. And he's an actor, so a lot of times you think, oh, he's going to be full of himself and he's going to be this, you know, grandiose kind of person. He's one of the most wonderful friends I'm lucky enough to have.
Having this kind of a turnout for our Respect Awards this year is thrilling, and it's humbling. I mean, people keep coming back, and this event has gotten bigger and bigger, and we're so grateful to everyone who makes this such a big night for GLSEN. When we look back 25 years and recognize how far we've come, it's a wonderful moment to celebrate, but it's also a moment to look out there and realize those achievements are taking root in some places so powerfully, and others are just starting. Our job is to make sure that every single school in the country is the place it needs to be for every child. Just when you thought the event couldn't get any bigger, to have not only Julia Roberts, Jim Parsons, and Todd Spiewak and Bob return as co-chairs alongside Marilyn and Jeffrey Katzenberg, but then to have the opportunity to lift up what Zachary Quinto and Justin Timberlake and Jessica Biel have done. It's a wonderful, wonderful night. YouTube as well. YouTube has been a transformational platform for young people to get their words directly to each other. It's exciting to see and fun to celebrate. Well, at its core, GLSEN is about respect for all. And I think at this point in our nation's history, there's nothing we need more. And I think for all of us as adults who care about youth, we have to take a step back and really think, what is it that we want for our future and for them? And the best thing we can do is try to live our lives in a way that embodies that respect for everyone we come across, and that we take young people where we find them, meet them where they're at, and let them become the person they were meant to be.
Trust in my friends, because last year I had actually genuinely no idea what GLSEN was genuinely doing, and I came because of people that I love, Chip Sullivan and Kevin Brockman, and I was gobsmacked. I was so impressed by the young people that were being helped by this organization, and what was happening and how they were doing it and what was happening after they did it. And so it became a priority for me, and I truly, genuinely, I said to Kevin at the end, I'm like, sign me up for every year, just let me know when, I'll try and get off work and I'll be there. I think that the reason why I was so in awe of them was because I found adolescence to be so daunting. You know, I just sort of didn't know what my place was, and there was nothing about me or my identity that was angularly interesting or provocative to anyone. I was just sort of like your run-of-the-mill cookie cutter, and I was still navigating minefields on a daily basis, I felt. And so when they stood up there last year and talked about the things that were angular about themselves, that provoked such horrible responses from their community, and then having to deal with it and how they dealt with it, and then how GLSEN came in and helped them, it was certainly where you want to put your time and attention. You know, I mean, I sat in my daughter's, my 5-year-old daughter's preschool class, and her preschool has a mantra in the beginning of the class. They all start and they all say it together. We respect ourselves, we respect each other. And they don't necessarily know what respect is. And I sat there and I actually wondered if someone was going to say, can we talk about respect? And they did. And out of 5-year-old mouths, it wasn't a, you know, head-on, necessarily completely accurate description, but what it meant to them was taking care. Respect was valuing, was knowing that you had something great and knowing that you needed to take care of it to keep it great. And what I feel is that genuinely we are all born great. We all deserve the same chances. We don't always get them. And then once we are in the world making our own way, we certainly deserve the chance to be who we are and be valued. You know, as long as you're not hurting anyone. Yeah. And so I feel like that is what, you know, again, I just walk away from this event every year feeling like that's what we could all do better. We could all value each other a little bit more.
I've had a very personal experience with GLSEN when I was coming out, and they really helped me get back into the sport I was playing. So I've just been involved for the past 3-4 years and really value and respect everything that they do. So I wouldn't miss it. It's one of those days that I mark off from my calendar and make sure that I'm at. Well, I've met a bunch of the kids, and the confidence and courage they have, and just the way they treat each other and the way that they approach life is so much different from how I was when I was younger. So I just think the work that GLSEN does with educating not only the LGBT youth, but I guess straight alliances or whatever you want to call it, I think is really important. And you know, as they grow up, it just becomes not really an issue. So it's very different from when I was in school. So I kind of wish I had that when I was growing up.
It's just a fun night to support a great organization. I was just talking with the student ambassadors before. Just, you know, it's all about the next generation and trying to create a safe space for them in their schools and their communities. To me, it always goes back to education and awareness. I think GLSEN does a great job of trying to increase people, their education, try to increase their awareness to LGBT issues, to the LGBT community, and try to create, again, a safe space for so many kids.
I mean, I just think that anything that supports the youth, especially, there are so many kids that are growing up in similar situations to what I grew up in. I grew up in the Bible Belt of Texas, and I was doing ballet at a very young age and wanted to be involved in theater and things that were a little bit quirky and not easily understood by my peers and family members. And so I support anything that is giving these kids a voice and making them feel like they fit in. I saw these kids dressed in dresses and girls wearing pants and men wearing dresses, and it just made me so happy to see how far our community has come. I just think that for there to be trailblazers and for amazing people like Zachary Quinto being here and using his voice and his megaphone that he has as his being an artist, to really make people respect each other, and not just people that are in the LGBTQ community, but just put more diversity on television just in general would be awesome, and I think that this is a huge step in the right direction.
I love GLSEN. We are a human family, and when you're a kid, pretty much every kid, I don't care if you always have identified as straight, and you're cisgender, all that stuff, but every kid is a little queer, period. And I identify as a queer person, and as an adult, I go through like, well, people go like, but you were with a woman for 6 years, now you're with a guy. What does that mean? It makes you go like, what does that mean? Am I? I'm a grown woman, and I go through that. So to be a kid and to have all those hormones and stuff, and trying to negotiate through that, and go to school, and then be made fun of and picked on because you're trying to learn how to be authentic. It's hard anyway. So I just love this because it just teaches us all how to be better to each other, because everybody's a little weird. So that's why.
You know, they've done so much in 25 years. I mean, look at the progress that we've made. It's pretty amazing. And I'm old friends with Zach Quinto, so I'm really happy to honor him. Well, you know, GLSEN was really dealing with the whole bullying issue long before a lot of people were. And I remember, I think one of the first events I went to with them was dealing with bullying. It's just kindness. We need to be kind to each other. It's so simple.
Oh my God, I mean, first of all, what an incredible organization. I mean, to be able to like be there, the forefront of schools and educators and kids, and really stop and be anti-bullying. I mean, I wish I had this during my high school years, and I was gonna say that tonight during my thing. It's like, it's such an important organization.
Yeah, I just think people need to really, really think beyond themselves and think about what they say and how it affects others, and just be very aware, because I think a lot of times people just like to run their mouths and just say whatever they want when they need to realize that that can hurt and words can really hurt. So just be respectful of anyone that you can be.
Honestly, I've been on YouTube for like 6 years now, so I've built a thick skin, and I've also, you know, been doing it for a long time. So it's not hard now, but it definitely was, especially when I came out as transgender. It was definitely a hard thing for me, sharing certain aspects of my life, but it's just all about positivity and love at the end of the day. So I was nervous, but it all worked out for the best.
So we honor Justin and Jessica as two vocal and committed allies to the LGBT community who are devoted and committed to charitable work that continually improve the lives of youth today. And having known both of them for a long time, and I'm talking way back to NSYNC and Seventh Heaven days, they know. I can say that their generosity and their kindness have always been at the forefront of every single thing they do and how they do it. And of course, as new parents, I can say that their son is one lucky kid for so many reasons, but most of all to be raised by them. So Jessica Biel and Justin Timberlake are receiving the GLSEN Inspiration Award tonight for their long-standing commitment to improving the lives of children. And they've long been the vocal supporters of the LGBT community, using their profiles to raise awareness amongst fans and be advocates for positive change.
Jessica and Justin make it possible for students like me to be ourselves, even in my small town in Missouri. Now, I used to see LGBT students getting pushed into lockers and shoved to the floor. So, my sophomore year, I helped to start a GSA that now has more than 60 members.
I just want to say really quickly, growing up in Memphis, Tennessee, I was called all types of names just for being creative. And I remember I ended up on this small television show called the Disney Channel's new MMC. It's before Seventh Heaven. But not as important. And I was 10 years old, and all of a sudden I was around a group of young people that were like me, that were different. This is not part of our speech, but I just felt compelled to say it because it just kind of hit me. We're also big Mars fans, so we felt like, oh, this is yours. We also felt like this was appropriate.
I'm tilting mine to the
You're tilting yours. I'll tilt mine to the side, girl. Shit. Take them off. We look like we're in another boy band. These young people here tonight, we're just blown away, the two of us. Thank you so much. As Joe mentioned, and as you may have heard, we are, my beautiful wife and I are a couple of new parents. We're not very good at it yet. So first, we want to say thank you to GLSEN, not just for this meaningful honor we are proud to share, but for a quarter century of inspiring positive change, which means, yes, which means you are right around the same time as the Mickey Mouse Club, but still not as important as Seventh Heaven. I'm kidding, very important.
We want to thank you for leading the way to make our schools more safe, welcoming, and yes, inspiring places for all of our children. Thank you for inviting us here tonight to be part of this amazing event.
And also thank you for allowing Mommy and Daddy to have a rare date night out together.
Oh yeah.
With other adults. Honey, look around. This is what adults look like.
They do exist.
They do exist.
So thank you, GLSEN, so much for all that you do to ensure the individuality of every kid. Lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender is respected, protected, and treasured in our schools.
Jess and I share this honor with all of you. Every day, all of you are also standing proudly on the right side of history. And even with all the trouble in our world today, this movement clearly is winning and is going to keep on winning. So, we say thank you for starting a trend for change, a change that one day would make it possible for our own son to grow up and thrive in a world where, like my new boss, he's going to be your boss at some point if he's not, Jeffrey Katzenberg, said, where all he has to do is just be himself.
And lastly, to anyone here tonight who may have been bullied or treated unfairly for being who you are.
Raise a hand. Oh, look, we all are the same.
We would like to leave you with a little quote from one of our favorite poets and playwrights, Oscar Wilde. A man who had no problem being his true self, even at a time when there was zero acceptance. And here it goes. Always forgive your enemies. Nothing annoys them so much.
Zachary has been a longtime advocate on behalf of the lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender community. Since deciding, yes, Zachary Quinto. Since deciding to come out publicly, his own decision, Zachary has made advancing LGBT equality a priority through personal advocacy and by appearing in plays with proceeds benefiting charitable LGBT causes. He's a kind and generous and funny and thoughtful man, a beautiful soul, a dear friend. To know Zachary Quinto and to see the choices he makes and the way he chooses to live his life is to respect him, is to love him. It is a true honor to present the 2015 GLSEN Champion Respect Award to Mr. Zachary Quinto.
We have triumphed in so many ways recently, but In that triumph, we stand on the shoulders of many pioneers and fighters and young people who never had the good fortune to witness the fruits of their labors. It's in the graceful, ghostly light of generations of lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender Americans who were forced to struggle in silence and fight a fight with no hope of the roars of victory that we are able to shine, to pour into the streets and to scream the cheers of celebration for our equality and our freedom. To them, we all owe an unpayable debt of gratitude, and in the memory of those truer champions than I will ever be, I humbly accept this honor. The idea of accepting and respecting one another is a powerful one, especially in our nation's schools, and especially at such a young age as GLSEN aims to reach with their message. But genuine acceptance and respect for another is virtually impossible unless it is predicated on a fundamental respect of oneself. That, to me, is key in the effort to dismantle the ever-complicated and technologically enhanced issue of bullying, teaching the younger generations that self-love is the most important cornerstone of building a brighter and more sustainable future for our human community, the one, after all, to which all of us belong. May we all continue to work together and evolve towards greater acceptance and truth and love. I think in the end, it is our only collective hope. Thank you so much for this honor. It means the world to me.
We found and tested solutions and put them into action in tens of thousands of schools across the country. Simple and powerful and educationally appropriate solutions like GLSEN's No Name Calling Week and LGBT History Month, and GLSEN's Safe Space Kit and Gay Straight Alliance student clubs, just to name a few. Just a few. And slowly but surely, these solutions took hold and began to work. Our fundamental conviction was and remains right. If you promote respect for all, make space for student leadership, and reduce bullying and harassment, you make schools safer and more affirming places for all students and clear a path to greater achievement and success for everyone, right? We need you with us because there are far too many places where this work is just getting started. Brave teachers and parents and students in places like Wichita, Kansas, and southern Arkansas, and right next door in rural communities in the San Joaquin Valley, are standing up and stepping past their fear to make a change. We must build on our accomplishments and make sure that change reaches every single school in this country. Yes, please. Since 1990, GLSEN has grown, changed its name, achieved things, and gone places we would never have imagined possible. And through it all, the clarity and power of GLSEN's central purpose has stood the test of time and lights the way forward.
For the past 25 years, GLSEN has brought people together to make change, and we can all be a part of that right now. Every one of us has a unique network of people in our lives, and some of us can reach millions. Think about how many of them might be so proud to support GLSEN. How many of them would be impressed by the students we have met here tonight? Can we get a round of applause for the students?
I've watched pretty much every coming out video on the internet. That was my way of coming out to myself. I wanted to make my own just to encourage anybody watching that they don't need to hold themselves back. They don't need to be afraid. I admired people like that. People who help others to be brave and proud of who they are. A person such as the honoree tonight, who is this year's GLSEN Student Advocate of the Year. This award honors an outstanding young person who has helped create a safe and affirming learning environment for students and has served as a voice of change in their school and community.
As the only gender non-binary member of the GSA, Mars made sure to create a safe space for students of all gender identities and orientations while also educating others about transgender issues in history.
Despite significant community opposition to the GSA, Mars persevered and created a crucial safe space. This year, Mars's GSA will campaign to add gender expression to the school's anti-bullying policy and create a gender-neutral restroom to ensure the safety of transgender and gender nonconforming students. Please join me in congratulating GLSEN's Student Advocate of the Year, Mars Hallman.
I protested when I could, but I always had to comply. I was always faced with the threat of punishment for insubordination, or worse, outing myself. We took a sex education course that was half a class period long. I saw what was written on the whiteboard before we even walked into the classroom. A healthy family has a mother and a father. All I learned that day was that I and people like me simply don't receive our sex education. The nurse asked us if we had any questions, and I had so many questions. Whew. I was silent. I was 15 when I realized that if I wanted to be treated equally, I had to make that change.